Yours.
Oh, thanks. Well, thank you, everybody. It's interesting in trying to download these videos from about China. I'm getting these pop-ups now, and so I think a lot of these viruses may be originating from China because I was trying to download Chinese some content, and so just a word for the wise, or be careful yourselves should you encounter something like that. Okay, so let's begin where we always begin. Everybody knows where that is, right? We got to start at the Department of Aging and Community Living. So let me share my screen so we can take off on our trip. So I'm going to share my screen now, and hopefully you all see this Department of Aging and Community Living here. So here we are at DACL. And so now we're going to go to China. So most of the planes going to China, they depart out of Dulles Airport. I don't know if any go from any other airport. So we're going to go to Dulles Airport. So this time we're going to take the Silver Line. So we're going to we're going to walk over to, it's a short walk over to Union Station. So we're going to walk down 3rd Street to Union Station. I haven't been to Union Station in a couple years. I heard it's not the same anymore. I need to get out there. So we go to Union Station, we catch the red line and to connect to the Silver Line, and then we get over to Dulles Airport. So let's just navigate there. Gonna move all these little icons around. So we're gonna navigate to Dulles. We're gonna go on the metro to Dulles Airport, and here we go. And then we're going to take off on our plane high up in the sky. So now our pilot's got to figure out which direction to go. So going to China, where does a pilot fly? He's got all this altitude now, but he doesn't know which way to go.
He flies
Anybody?
east.
Where?
East.
East? Okay, well, that's a good guess. Let's have a look at the world. So if you look way up in the world, and you see where DC is, and you see where China is. If you travel east, you got to go way around the world there. If you travel west, you got to go way around the world here. So the reality is, though, the flights usually go west. So they go up over here, they go up over Canada. They don't like flying over water. The planes always do, but they try to, if they can't avoid it, they will. So they go up the coast of, sort of get a window seat, because there's some beautiful mountains up here, gorgeous glaciers, some of the biggest mountain masses in the whole world are up along in here. They go along here, they go down here. Do you all remember that Korean airliner that was shot down? Is coming down here. That was a while ago, because it was taking this route right here, right along the spine of the continent right here. And now we're going to slowly lose altitude, and we're going to end up. So what is the main city that you land in when you go to China? Anybody know? Typically, we land in Beijing, or that was the old Peking. Everybody hears me okay?
Yep, you're good, Lou.
All right, thanks. So we usually land in Beijing. So you can see Beijing is, this is a big country, 3rd biggest country in the world. And so, the fact that we're landing towards the eastern side of the continent is another reason why we fly of the country is another reason why we fly west when we go out of Washington, D.C., because that side of the country is closer if we head west. All right, so let's head down. So I had a really interesting time researching China, and I just really well, first off, I was in China when it wasn't China. I was went to Hong Kong years ago for my business, and I loved it. I could honestly say the best time of my entire life. Gotta make sure no family is around. was when I was in China. It was so fun. I mean, the people had the most amazing culture where you had these friends who were like the best friends you ever had, and they worked so hard during the day. I mean, it was amazing how hard people worked. But then you flick a switch, and at night they had so much fun. It was off the charts fun. Every night they were going to the discotheque. Every night they were meeting up with friends. Every night they were, having some great food and drink and all. I'm not just talking about Saturday and Sunday, every single night. And, and it was good, clean fun. It wasn't, raunchy fun. So, I can't say enough. And when I lived in LA, I lived in the Asian community, and a lot of my friends were Asians and from China, and I just can't say enough about the Chinese people. Okay, enough of that. Let's jump over to the next one. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment because I don't want to show you my answers to my other things. So just 1 second. And I just have to queue up the first video. So of course we start with history. So let's do the history here first. I found there was a number of history videos. The one that I found here that I'm going to play, I was very pleased with because I thought it was really good. So let me share that. And hopefully you all can see this now. Hold on. Everybody can see that? Or no?
Brought to you by Captivating History.
Is this
The
video
history and
visible to
people of
everybody?
China are as diverse as the land itself. The culture that brought us
That's
kindness
good.
and skill
Good.
also gave us gunpowder, paper currency, and
That's
acupuncture,
great.
and a slew of other world-changing inventions and discoveries. It is a complex culture deeply rooted in tradition and honor. For millennia, different family dynasties have ruled over ancient China, each leaving an indelible mark on history. The simple beauty of Chinese art and the delicate imagery created by its poetry belies the violence of the Chinese military might that pushed expansionism and conquest. A quick overview of the history of China will help us to better understand the complexity of this unique and fascinating culture. Although people inhabited China much longer, historians believe that the first Chinese dynasty was the Xia dynasty, which ruled between 2100 and 1600 BCE. The only evidence we have about the Xia dynasty, however, comes from texts written around 1300 BCE, long after this dynasty's rule was over. There is definitive proof of the Shang dynasty, which began around 1600 BCE. The center of the Shang dynasty was the vassal state called Zhao. The peasants of the Shang dynasty lived on the rice they farmed, while the upper classes of society enjoyed beef, pork, poultry, and venison. To make their meager allotment of protein go further, the Chinese peasants developed a way to chop fish, chicken, or eggs into tiny bits that were stir-fried with rice and pieces of vegetable, a method of cooking that remains popular in China and around the world to this day. It is also during the Shang dynasty that the Chinese system of writing began. The Chinese script started as a series of pictograms, but over time the images became easier to duplicate and served more as a symbol than an actual depiction. During the Shang dynasty, as many as 3,000 new Chinese characters were introduced. Years later, the people of China had arranged themselves into 7 distinct states, each with its own cultural identity, leaders, goals, and customs. One state, the Qin, grew more powerful than the others. As is usual, with power comes greed. In 247 BCE, the Qin state, with its sizable, well-organized army, defeated the 6 other states to seize control of China. Although the Qin army was formidable, had the other 6 states banded together, they could have been victorious. However, they chose not to work together against a common enemy. When the final state fell, the Qin dynasty was born. Of course, there were those who opposed the new Qin dynasty. According to one tale, in 227 BCE, 2 would-be assassins presented King Zhen of Qin with a map of their region. Hidden within the rolled-up map, however, was a dagger. The assassins were thwarted when the lengthy dagger failed to come easily out of the map. giving time for the king's guards to subdue the assassins. After this event, King Zhen changed his name to Qin Shi Huang and was declared China's first emperor. As emperor, he sought to remain unseen by his subjects, hidden in a temple and traveling from place to place via a network of elevated tree-lined roads built solely for his use. He may have been hidden from his people, but Qin Shi Huang's orders were carried out across the land. He was a stickler for standardization. He wanted the wheels on carts to be the same distance apart, so the ruts on the road would be uniform. He also standardized all weights and measures. His greatest accomplishment as emperor, however, was commissioning the construction of a feature that can be seen from space, the Great Wall of China. The great Mongol leader, Genghis Khan, attacked the northern region of China in 1211. Ongoing battles ensued, ending with the Mongols' total defeat of the reigning Jin dynasty of 1234. Genghis Khan's son, Ogadai Khan, took over command of the Mongol horde upon his father's death, but he too died in battle. The reign passed to Genghis Khan's grandson, Kublai Khan, and his brother, Hulagu Khan. The brothers set their sights on a trading hub guarded by an impressive fort. Undeterred, they used their secret weapons, trebuchets, catapult-like weapons. The Chuangzi Nu was a device that could shoot a volley of flaming arrows at the enemy, while the Thunder Crash bombs were exploding metal cylinders filled with gunpowder. The combination of these frightening weapons was enough for the Mongols to destroy the Song dynasty in 1279. The reign of Kublai Khan was, like all of Chinese history, a strange mixture of culture and ruthless violence. A learned man, Kublai Khan was respectful and tolerant of all religions practiced in China: Buddhism, Taoism, Shamanism, Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim. He encouraged the arts and was a lover of poetry, paintings, and the theater. But he also had expansionism and colonialism on his mind. He set his sights on Japan, Burma, Java, and Vietnam. In 1281, Kublai Khan sent his troops to invade Japan. His fleet of more than 3,500 ships, however, had a catastrophic failure to communicate, and the Japanese forces repelled their advances. The remaining men returned to China to lick their wounds and regroup. In 3 battles, in 1257, 1284, and 1285, Kublai Khan's forces attempted to seize Vietnam. But in all 3 battles, the Great Mongols were defeated. Between 1277 and 1287, Khan's men engaged the armies of Burma as they tried to invade that region. This time, they succeeded in subduing the people of Burma. But Khan's plan to make them pay high taxes failed. The bulk of the Burmese people were poor farmers trying to eke out a living in a region besieged by drought. They simply had nothing to give. Once Kublai Khan knew their plight, he took pity on them. He had grain, cloth, and other resources sent to the more impoverished areas, sending workers to help rebuild houses and construct irrigation channels. For a war-hungry ruler, he was also a great humanitarian. From 1368 to 1644, China was controlled by the Great Ming Dynasty. The leaders had an attitude of paranoia and sought to keep a tight rein on the people of China, even if it meant ruthless executions. In this atmosphere, the conditions were ripe for rebellion and revolt. The Ming Dynasty weathered each revolt and even produced an impressive collection of fine porcelain vases, urns, and bowls along the way. Although delicate, Ming porcelain pieces created in the 16th century remain to this day and are a highly prized collectible. Tragedy struck on May 30th, 1626. A huge explosion rocked the city of Beijing, uprooting trees miles away and sending the bodies of victims high into the air. More than 20,000 people were killed in the blast reportedly centered at the Wanggongcheng Armory, a facility that manufactured gunpowder, weapons, and munitions. An exact cause of the explosion was never determined, but the superstitious Chinese people took it as a sign from the gods that they were displeased with the rule of the Ming Dynasty. By the late 1700s, China was trading vigorously with Britain and other parts of Europe. Tea, silk, cotton, and porcelain items were being shipped around the world. Another commodity, however, found its way onto the merchant ships: opium. The addictive drug was smuggled into China on British ships and sold to the general population. Opium is so addictive that the user must have continued access to the drug or face horrible withdrawal symptoms. The emperor responded to this crisis by making opium illegal, and set up a blockade around the harbor to prevent British ships from entering. The heavily armed British responded by obliterating the Chinese ships. The conflict ended with the Treaty of Nanking, signed in 1842, but it did not end the opium crisis in China. Opium was so widespread in China that the British pressured the Chinese emperor to legalize the substance. The situation came to a head when, in 1856, Chinese authorities captured a British ship loaded with opium bound for China. This time, the French came to the aid of the British, and both nations attacked the Chinese. This was the opportunity France was looking for, as they had been trying to gain access to Chinese ports for their trade ships for years. France and Britain, along with the United States and Russia, forced China to sign the Treaty of Tientsin. The treaty forced China to open seaports to foreign merchant ships to allow Christian missionaries to spread the word of God across China, and devastatingly, to legalize opium imports. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, and the nation of China was being pulled apart by different political factions and ideologies. When Mao Zedong came to power, he made a bold declaration. He established a new government with a new name, the People's Republic of China. Mao portrayed himself as the hero of the common man and an advocate of the working class. However, he sought a homogeneous society in which everyone thought the same way. He murdered those who disagreed with him, and even ordered the executions of wealthy capitalists who didn't fit his plan for a unified society. He encouraged people to report their friends and neighbors who criticized the Mao government, and ordered thousands of people into forced labor camps. Beginning in 1966, Mao Zedong began his Cultural Revolution to rid the nation of counter-revolutionary elements in Chinese society and those who spread them. He closed the universities because he believed that education created capitalists who sought to exploit workers for their own gain. Paranoid, Mao was convinced that people within his own government were conspiring to oust him. Therefore, he purged his own government. The massacres, starvation, and famine killed somewhere around 20 million people. When Mao Zedong died in 1976, his seat was filled by Deng Xiaoping. Deng's first order of business was to reverse the restrictions and culture of fear from Mao's Cultural Revolution. He reopened the universities, reestablished civil services, and brought order to the chaos of Chinese government. In the years since, China has grown into a world power. China is a leading manufacturing and exporting economy that has overcome many of its past problems to enjoy a stability it has rarely known. The rich history and diverse past of China has contributed to its present as an emerging global superpower, with the potential to rival the United States in economy, technology, military, and diplomacy. To discover more about the history of China, then check out our book, History of China, a captivating guide to Chinese history, including events such as the first emperor of China.
Well, folks, what did you all think of that? I actually found that fascinating.
It was good.
There's some very interesting things about that.
Yeah, we got a lot of information, historical
A
information.
lot.
Yeah. Did anything stand out to anybody?
Well, the thing that the French, I didn't know that the French helped the Chinese out. That was new to me. I had never heard that before.
Lou, what
Yeah.
stood out to me was that leader executing his own people. Just,
Mhm.
if they didn't go along with the program.
20 million, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, that was like, he was the Hitler in the Chinese era.
Right.
That was terrible. And burning the books and, so they couldn't be educated. That's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
I sort of remember that. That was more, that was a big deal decades ago, but we don't hear as much about that now. But yeah, that's huge. But what
They
jumped out at
hide
me, sorry, Tom, go ahead.
They hide it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we don't get any information out of China anymore.
One thing that we might hide well, I didn't realize that we were siding with the British to open the opium trade in China.
That was the Boxer War. It was
That
called the
was
Boxer War.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's terrible. What we were part of. And I guess the people were all addicted to opium. So maybe that was the roots of why Mao was so anti-capitalism, because I bet it was the traders that was pushing for that, you know, the businesses involved in the opium trade. Maybe that's where the roots of communism came from in China. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, could be.
could be. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know. Does anybody know? I know, Tom, you're quite a historian. Where did Hong Kong begin? Like, was that as a result? Was that the part of the treaty with that war?
That was after World War II. It became an independent uh, city, country of itself. But it was after World War II that Hong Kong broke away from China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember they had a 99-year lease or something.
Right. And the British had that.
I was gonna say the British was.
It was the British because if you remember your history right, Mountbatten was in Hong Kong when the British turned over their control of Hong Kong to the Chinese. And that's what brought on the separation of Hong Kong, Shanghai, and China all had that mini war right after World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm looking at this on, I just looked it up. It said during the first Opium War, China ceded the island of Hong Kong to the British with the signing of the CHUENPI convention. I can't pronounce it.
You're
Yeah.
right, Brenda.
Yeah, an
You are
agreement
right.
seeking to end the first Anglo-Chinese conflict.
And
Yeah.
so that was, if it was 99-year lease, that would have been right around the
During
turn of the century.
During
Right.
our time, Hong Kong broke away from China.
Mm-hmm.
I got
All right, folks.
thing
Well,
here.
there's, you know, one thing they didn't cover is the fight between the Japanese and the Chinese. That was there's a lot of bad blood between those two countries. And if you all recall some of the brutality of the Japanese against the Chinese, it was just terrible what had happened.
Wow.
Yeah, do you all remember that? Any of those stories?
No,
I remember them talking about some of it, but I don't remember. I think we were too little to really get into the depth of it, you know.
I recall hearing
My
stories of
husband-
the troops like throwing babies in the air and
Yeah.
catching them on the end of their
Burying them.
bayonets, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Terrible stuff.
oh,
Yeah.
that's awful.
Yeah, and so there, yeah, I believe there's still, you know, a little bit of lingering, you know, animosity even to this day, though I don't know for sure, between China and Japan, you know, over some of the terrible things that happened in World War II. But anyway, we thank gosh we've moved on. All right, well let's play it now. Let's get into the things to do. So I was just delighted by seeing these things to do because, you know, I've never been to mainland China and I really want to go now. I mean, I really want to go. So check this out.
China, the gateway to East Asia, is a fascinating country. It is an ancient civilization that gave the world Peking man, gunpowder, and noodles. Visitors making their first trip to China usually stick to the larger cities. More experienced visitors to the Middle Kingdom will strike out in other directions, where traveling may be a bit more frustrating because of the language barrier, but most definitely doable for independent travelers. Here's a look at the best places to visit in China.
Hey, King. Great Wall of China.
Number 10. Kunming. Kunming is the economic, transportation, industrial, and cultural center of southwest China. It is linked by rail from all of China's major cities, as well as with Vietnam. The mild climate makes it a good place to visit any time of the year. Largely because of the fine climate, flower growing is a major industry, and tourists can visit flower exhibits and auctions and a huge botanical garden. In addition to its own charms, Kunming serves as a base from which to explore the rainbow of ethnic minority in the area. Number 9. Chuchaigo. Chuchaigo Valley has been described as fairyland because of its many waterfalls, snow-covered karst mountains, and its 108 blue, turquoise, and green-colored lakes that are so crystal clear one can see the bottoms. It is also the habitat of giant pandas, though the chances of seeing them are slim due to the park's size and the number of tourists. Number 8. Hangzhou. Famed for its natural scenery, Hangzhou and its West Lake have been immortalized by countless poets and artists. In the 13th century, Marco Polo described the city as the most beautiful and magnificent in the world. Hangzhou's most famous site, West Lake, is a large lake separated by causeways and lined with ancient buildings and gardens designed for relaxation and spirituality. Visitors will find pagodas, temples, walking paths, and tea farms along its shores. Number 7. Yangshuo. Yangshuo in South China was once a magnet for backpackers because of its cheap prices and laid-back atmosphere, but today it draws all sorts of travelers to enjoy its beautiful scenery and karst mountains. Yangshuo also makes a good base to take a day trip to Guilin for a leisurely trip on the Li River. Many travelers choose to rent bicycles for the trip back, since the route is relatively flat and gives them the opportunity to view farmers toiling in their fields. Number 6. Lhasa. Lhasa is the most important city in Tibet and one of the highest elevated in the world at 11,500 feet. Lhasa, in spite of its absorption into Greater China, has retained much of its culture. It is home to the Potala Palace, which was the former home of the Dalai Lama. The palace was constructed on the Red Hill more than 360 years ago. Another palace is Norbalinka, built in 1755. It was the Dalai Lama's summer palace before his exile. Number 5. Xi'an. Xi'an was once the start of the indispensable Silk Road that made commerce between many countries in Eurasia possible. It was also the imperial seat for no fewer than 11 dynasties before the unification of China between 1000 BC and 1000 AD. Its most famous attraction is the rather recently discovered Terracotta Army, the protectors of the tomb of the first emperor of China. Xi'an also boasts 14th century city walls that are more than 8 miles long. They are not only a part of the city history, but traveling in Xi'an sometimes requires
Wow.
going under, on, or around them. Number 4. Shanghai. Located on the East China Sea and the mouth of the Yangtze River, Shanghai is the largest city in China. Its skyline is filled with skyscrapers, while shiny shopping malls, luxurious hotels, and prestigious art centers are rising alongside. The city nights in Shanghai are representative of the Western view of China's cities, with bright neon signs, bustling streets, and numerous businesses. The most popular place to go for a stroll is the Bund, Shanghai's colonial riverfront along Huangpu River. While levees have significantly changed the Bund's appearance, a number of architecturally significant buildings are adjacent to the strip and are still visible. Number 3. Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China is an assemblage of smaller walls built by various dynasties over many years. Builders erected these walls for protection from invasion by those from the north. The Great Wall itself measures approximately 5,500 miles in length, although some of the sections lie in ruin or have disappeared altogether. It is the longest man-made structure in the world. There are several sections of the Great Wall of China that visitors find interesting. Badaling is the most popular section of the wall, as it is the closest to Beijing and easy to climb. Number 2. Hong Kong. Located off China's southeastern coast, Hong Kong is a glittering, world-class commercial center where Chinese culture, British colonial.
So, folks, there's a problem with the sound, and unfortunately, you can't see the sound, but you can see the video. I have another video about Beijing. This is Hong Kong right here. It's two main districts, Kowloon, which is on one side of that inlet, and then Hong Kong on the other side. Lots of commerce, lots of business. It's all about trade and commerce and making money. And is that Bruce Lee I saw?
Bruce Lee, yeah.
And Bruce Lee, yeah. You all know where Bruce Lee's from? Anybody know? Where was Bruce Lee born?
I'll tell you.
Was it China?
I think he's from Seattle.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
And Brandon Lee, his son, who also died tragically, was also from Seattle. All right. Well, we are. I gotta keep moving at a good clip, or just stay on track. So I'm going to jump over, because we didn't see Beijing because the sound was out. I got a whole separate video on Beijing.
Beijing is full of incredible historic sites that everyone should visit on a trip to China. This is Katie
You
from
won't see
Creative
this or
Travel
no?
Guide, and today we share the best things to do
I'm sorry, can you see this?
You're
Yeah.
good to go, Lou.
Thank you.
in Beijing, China. Looking for more travel tips? Make sure to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. So the first thing you have to do whilst you're in Beijing is actually leave the city centre and visit the Great Wall of China. There are several spots around Beijing that offer different perspectives of the Great Wall, from the fully restored sections to the wild and challenging sections as well. Choose one of these options and take a day trip out to see the wall. Just make sure to avoid the national holidays such as Golden Week, which falls on the first week of October, and Chinese New Year, which tends to land around the end of January, start of February. Next we have the Forbidden City. This palace complex is China's largest and best preserved collection of ancient buildings. Once home to 2 generations of dynasties, the Forbidden City is now a popular spot for tourists and Chinese alike. The entrance fee is 60 RMB and you can pay a guide to talk you through the palace or get an audio tour with prices starting at 40 RMB. Just remember that the Forbidden City is closed on Mondays but open every day otherwise from 8:30 AM. We recommend arriving here for opening time to avoid the tour buses or visit in the early afternoon around 2 PM. Just make sure to bring your passport, wear comfortable shoes and wear layers if you are visiting outside of the summer. The Summer Palace is a beautiful place to explore, especially if you are visiting in the spring or summer months. This royal park is the gem of Beijing and a must visit whilst you are here. It is expansive and can take around 2 to 3 hours to walk around. Make sure to bring a camera and capture the rich landscapes and cultural heritage. Next we have Tiananmen Square, home to Chairman Mao's mausoleum, the National Museum of China and the Great Hall of People. There is a lot to see and do around this famous square. Historic for its bloody history and a focus point of the communist reign, the square cannot be missed. Just don't discuss its history in earshot of any officials. One of the most beautiful temples in China is the Temple of Heaven, and it can be found here in Beijing. Divided by 2 encircling walls, this magnificently detailed building will take your breath away. This is an imperial complex that was once used by Chinese emperors to pray to their gods. After visiting all those historic sites, make sure to visit the hutongs. Now there are hutongs all over the city, and these are old city lanes and courtyards, but nowadays they have been transformed to offer courtyard guest houses, markets, shops and boutique restaurants. We will leave some of our favourite hutongs below. You can't miss them because they really are all over Beijing. Looking to try some weird and wonderful street food? Head to Dongguomen Night Market. This runs from 4 PM to 10 PM, offering a variety of snacks that you can try. This bustling night market is the perfect place to start your Beijing experience. You can get all types of food here, from meat skewers to strawberry kebabs, quail eggs to chicken hearts. Now this next one is one of my favourite things to do in the capital and we highly recommend it. Try the Peking duck. Found in restaurants across the city, Peking duck is a must whilst you're in Beijing. You can find some amazing authentic restaurants that aren't too pricey and offer some of the best duck you will ever have. And lastly, a fairly new attraction to Beijing, Universal Studios Beijing. This brand new theme park opened at the end of 2021 and is a must visit for anyone who loves theme parks. Explore Jurassic Park, head to Minion Land and enjoy Kung Fu Panda before becoming a wizard in the world of Harry Potter. You could choose to go for a day trip or spend a night at the Universal Studios Grand Hotel. Watch this video to find out the things to know before you go to China. Then,
All right. Well, any thoughts about that, folks?
Yeah,
Okay.
it looked like it was scorpion on a stick. That's what it looked like, a scorpion on a
It was
stick. Wait a minute.
disgusting looking, and they were alive.
No.
Looked like they were alive.
Yeah, that
But
thing
Lou-
looked nasty.
Lou, I wanted to tell you, I looked up Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco. He died in Hong Kong and was buried in Seattle.
Oh, wow. Good
Yeah.
job, Brenda.
Yeah,
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, she's from all over.
yeah, all over.
Well, I lived in Seattle for 20 years, and Seattle claimed him as his own. So I guess
Oh, okay.
they were cheating a little bit.
Yeah, they were cheating. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, I just the culture just seems so different in a nice way, doesn't it? There, and it's still
Yeah.
there. It's not like it got wiped out by Western culture.
Wow. Ooh.
You know what I'm noticing about all of these places you're showing, Lou, is that they're the streets are extremely clean, extremely clean compared to the U.S.
Yeah.
I think he said
travel
this was
videos
the
as
tourist
well.
version.
They're also, so just keep that in mind. But yes,
Yeah.
some places it is like that.
Tourist version.
Uh-huh. Even our tourist version is not that clean.
Mhm.
All right. Well, so one of the things that startled me a lot about China and doing my research is the Chinese love of nature and how they integrate like life into nature. And I want to show you something, a video that they had these things all over the country. And this is just the tip of the iceberg because they're all over the place. And I think it captures a little bit of the Chinese like love of integrating with nature in a really extreme way. So check this out.
Ooh, terrifying.
There are plenty of strange sights to keep you entertained in China. Dongyang spring delicacy of boiled eggs soaked in the urine of young boys, or virgin boy eggs, whole sharks and crocodiles for sale in the supermarket. But not satisfied with this basic level of weirdness, the country has been redoubling efforts to attract visitors with ever wackier attractions. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more amazing content. Let's begin. Number 10. Cliff Swing Chongqing. Thrill seekers take note. This could be your most exhilarating post-lockdown ride. A Chinese scenic spot has built a huge swing on the edge of a 2,300-foot tall cliff and is planning to apply for the world record for the largest swing. The arch of the extreme ride is a whopping 328 feet tall, roughly the equivalent of a 30-story building. According to the Guinness World Records, the current tallest swing in the world measures 88 meters or 288 feet and 8 inches from the seat to the top of the crossbar. The vertigo-inducing ride in Chongqing, China can catapult thrill seekers over the cliff at a top speed of 80 miles per hour, according to its engineer at a scenic spot. Latest footage of the swing rocking back and forth over the river valley has caused a sensation on social media in China. An employee at the scenic spot said workers put a crash test dummy on the swing at the time because so far nobody has been brave enough to give it a try. Number 9. Guoliang Tunnel. A tourist attraction in the same sense that travelers emboldened by the freedom of life on the road are compelled to head kamikaze-style down Bolivia's Yungas, the Guoliang Tunnel was hand-carved 400 feet up the side of a mountain in Henan province back in 1977. The 20-foot wide road carries both foot traffic and vehicles for a dizzying 1,200 meters, with the risk of simply falling off into the abyss very real. While drivers constantly honk their horns to help prevent collisions, the rising number of tourists visiting for the thrill alone can hardly be making things easier. Nowadays, the tunnel is an extremely scenic route and is a key destination on the Chinese tourist map, as it became a tourist attraction when China opened its borders to international tourists. The tunnel is pretty scary, with 30 windows of various sizes and shapes, and it's been dubbed as the road that does not tolerate any mistakes. Number 8. Mount Huashan. As wonderful as Chinese tea is, it's definitely not something you'd closely associate with exhilaration, adrenaline, and the fear of death. Mount Huashan in China, however, manages to bring all of these things together by featuring a death-defying cliffside mountain hiking trail that brings daring visitors to a tea house, 2,160 meters or 7,087 feet up on the mountain's southern peak. A network of dangerous and precipitous trekking trails allows them to access the Huashan Mountain's 5 summits, each of which has a religious structure like the tea house on the southern summit. However, these 5 summits form the points of a flower shape. The paths have been reinforced due to a recent influx of adrenaline rush-seeking mountain hiking tourists, but they're nonetheless dangerous and carry a reputation for fatal falls. Although no official statistics are kept, some say that the number may be as high as about 100 fatal falls a year. Number 7. Sidu River Bridge, China. As the record holder for the world's tallest bridge, this span is definitely one that anyone afraid of heights should avoid. It opened in 2009 and is in the Hubei province of China. This 4,000-foot suspension bridge rises more than 1,500 feet over the chasm below. Believe it or not, the Empire State Building could easily fit under this bridge, and rockets had to be used to connect the two sides of it. Number 6. Lop Nor. Lop Nor used to be the largest lake in northwestern China before it dried up in 1972. Known as the Sea of Death, Lop Nor is located in the southeastern part of Changjing Uyghur Autonomous Region. It's now a boundless Gobi desert without any grass, stream or bird, and its temperature in summer can reach 70 degrees Celsius. This untraversed place is full of mysteries. The stories behind it are often tragedies along with missing cases and deaths. In 1980, Chinese scientist Peng Jiamu disappeared while walking into Lop Nor for an expedition. His body has never been found, and his disappearance remains a mystery. 16 years later, in 1996, Chinese explorer Yu Chunshun died while trying to walk across Lop Nor. Number 5. Bubble Tram. Hats off to the bright sparks behind this inspired feat of engineering, which transforms your run-of-the-mill observation deck into a fairground ride teetering near the top of a 1,968-foot skyscraper. Guangzhou's Canton Tower was briefly the tallest tower in the world before Dubai stepped in with a record-busting 2,722-foot tall Burj Khalifa. But the real selling point is the roller coaster-like track that circumnavigates the Canton's sloping elliptical observation deck at around 1,500 feet off the ground. 16 transparent pods circle the track to give 360-degree views. Each takes between 20 and 40 mildly alarming minutes to do the circuit, set at a 15-degree angle. Number 4. The Wansheng Ordovician Theme Park. This next attraction is meant to test your fear limits and push your adrenaline to the sky. China's Wansheng Ordovician Theme Park, located in the Chongqing area, is the world's largest glass footbridge, as accredited by the Guinness World Record. The 80-meter walkway extends from the cliff edge, and the glass below the feet gives the sensation that you're floating in the sky. A new rule has been recently introduced to allow no more than 30 visitors at a time to stand on the bridge. Even if the glass bridge is the park's star attraction, there are other sky-high adventures to try in the park. The 500-foot-high gap bridge can be equally scary. The bridge looks like a horizontal ladder, having big gaps between each ledge and forcing you to take super careful hops from one ledge to the next. And if the harness behind feels protective enough, think again. We'd seen it unbuckle from a tourist's back just as he landed on the last ledge. Number 3. Bund Sightseeing Tunnel. Shanghai's unabashedly bizarre sightseeing tunnel, bear in mind this is a tunnel under a river from which the city sights are markedly absent, is always worth a mention for being so thoroughly bonkers. Linking the futuristic Pudong district with a classic-looking waterfront area, the Bund, which is separated by the Huangpu River, the 10-minute train ride in glass cabins sees passengers subjected to bright lights and whirling lasers, while an ominous voiceover booms enlightening phrases like nascent magma and fossiled variants. All the more bamboozling when you consider catching the public ferry from one side of the Huangpu to the other costs less and allows you to see actual sights. Number 2. Hongyagu Bridge, China. Sometimes it seems that bridge designers are twisted, sadistic people. Take the designer of Hebei's Hongyagu Bridge, which opened in the end of 2017. They've constructed a bridge which spans 488 meters or 1,601 feet over a vertical drop of 220 meters or 722 feet, which is nerve-wracking enough for most people. But the designers decided to add a glass floor so that the users could have a great view of the valley below them and trick their minds into believing there's nothing holding them up. And as if that isn't enough, they decided to give the bridge added sway. The glass panels are 4 centimeters or 1.6 inches thick, which doesn't seem like a lot when it sits between you and certain death. The bridge is capable of accommodating 2,000 people at a time, but only 600 are allowed to walk on it just in case. Visitors have to wear shoe gloves to protect the glass from scratching or breaking. This is apparently a thing with glass bridges. Who could have known? The Bridge Authority has stationed staff members at points along the bridge to assist those who feel faint. Still, it could be worse. The creators of the glass suspension bridge have designed it with added sound effects. As you take each step along the glass bridge, it sounds as if the glass is cracking beneath your feet. Nope. Number 1. The Baiyalong Elevator. This has had its fair share of controversies, but it's an undeniably impressive feat of engineering, and at 1,070 feet tall, it holds the record for the world's tallest outdoor lift. The Zhangjiajie National Forest Park in the Hunan province of China is famous for the spectacular sandstone pillars that rise up from the forest floor, the tallest reaching heights of more than 3,000 feet. Think of the floating Hallelujah Mountains and Avatar, and you'll have a fairly good mental image. Among these pillars rises another lofty structure, albeit one of steel and glass, the Baiyalong Elevator, meaning the 100 Dragons Elevator, officially recognized as the tallest outdoor lift in the world. The lift has a total height of 1,070 feet, or 326 meters, of which the lower 505 feet are embedded inside the mountain wall, with the upper 565 feet consisting of exposed steel derrick. The 3 elevators run in parallel, offering dizzying views of the sandstone pillars and surrounding mountains and forest. Each elevator has a carrying capacity of 4,900 kilograms, with 50 passengers traveling in each car. All of which means that the Baiyalong Elevator is not only the world's tallest outdoor elevator, but also the world's tallest double-deck sightseeing elevator and the world's fastest passenger traffic elevator with the biggest carrying capacity.
Well, anyway, we made it through. Does anybody struck by any of that stuff?
Yeah, I'm scared.
Yeah, they like
I'm
heights.
scared just looking at it.
Scared
That
half to
like
death.
heights, that bridge, that glass bridge.
Oh,
It's like,
crazy.
oh my God.
Didn't you believe
Yeah.
it simulates braking? That's crazy.
That
I'm
is
ready
crazy.
to try.
That scared me just looking at it. I know I don't want to put my foot on it.
Wow.
To me, that looks like a country with a whole lot of money to spend, which it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
And they're
to
blowing their money wherever they can, right?
No.
Yeah,
do. What do they charge for you to go over those bridges?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my God. Yeah. I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't either.
I'm
They
ready.
could pay me $1 million a step, and I still wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
It also
It's
shows
charges
the country.
nothing.
I'm,
Justice
at my
right.
age, I'm ready to go.
We can say that again.
Send me the money and I'll go.
Yeah.
It's a country that has
I'm not
very
not ready to
knowledgeable
go.
engineers. The engineers are masterful for them to be able to engineer something like that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
such
very
great
masterful.
engineers.
Got to give
Yeah.
them credit. It's almost like a young person being given millions of dollars and how they spend it. You know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go spend it
You know,
foolishly
you
or
got
crazy
engineering
or do
skills.
whatever.
It looked like fun though, didn't it?
No,
It
no,
looks
that
fun
looked
too.
like fun.
It looked like a heart attack.
No, not at all.
Thank you so much for the videos to show, Lou. That was really interesting. So, you know,
we
let's,
got to get to this trivia, right?
yeah, it's almost.
Okay, so
almost,
let's fire it up. Let's fire it up. Hold on. Okay, let me just share my screen here. I got to do it a certain way. So there's only 3 questions because I'm running out of souvenirs. I gotta refill my souvenirs. Okay, so here we go. China trivia time. Anybody know what that building is in that picture?
The Forbidden
The
Palace.
Forbidden City.
Yeah, good job.
Forbidden City.
Yeah.
All right, so first question, here we go. Oops. In what city were fortune cookies invented?
San Francisco.
They weren't invented in China. They were invented in the U.S. Like San
I
Francisco.
heard the
That's
answer
what I
already.
just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's San
San
Francisco.
Francisco.
That's
Yeah,
what
Mr.
Tom
Thomas
said.
said
He
it.
should
He
have
said
said
it
it.
as soon as you asked the question.
Tom,
Like,
how do you know all
That
this
was Thomas.
stuff? I mean, come
Yeah.
on. Tom, you're
Yeah,
gonna have to
Thomas
host
know everything.
you're gonna have to host the trivia contest just to give away all your awards.
oh wow. Well, good job, Mr. Thomas. Would you like a necklace or a bracelet?
Give it
Oh,
to somebody.
Okay, can you look at the participants list and choose someone for me, please?
Who was the lady that was with us this morning? Just gotta have a
Oh, it's just someone who's on the call right now, Mr. Thomas. Can you look at the participants list and check for me?
Her name was Lucas.
Who?
Her name was Lucas. I don't know if she's on now or not, but her name was Lucas.
Yes, I'm on.
Give it to Miss Lucas then.
Yes, I'm on. Lucas is on.
Oh, okay, thank you so much for your kindness, Mr. Thomas. Miss Lucas, would you like a necklace or a bracelet?
A necklace.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, and thank you for coming on, Miss Lucas.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Tom. Thank you. Okay, question number 2. Here we go. What two countries have the largest number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites? These are considered the most valuable sites in all of human history. What two countries have the most?
One is China.
China and Italy.
Oh my gosh, that was
Oh,
great!
I know that's right, Anne.
Wow, that was great. Who got that?
Anne, good job. Would you like a necklace or a
Wow, that
bracelet?
was a hard one. Good job.
Yep. Anne, would you like a necklace or a bracelet?
Bracelet.
Okay, I got you. Great job. Thank you.
Okay, last question. Here we go. Oh, there's 2 more questions. Last one is just a bonus question, no prize. Here we go. Third question. The biggest countries in the world are number 1, Russia, that has 11 time zones. Number 2, Canada, that has 6 time zones. And the third biggest country in the world is China. How many
One
time
time
zones?
zone. One
What?
time zone. One time zone.
Who said
Oh,
that?
wow, Bridget.
Bridget.
Wow.
Oh, my
How
goodness.
did you know that?
I don't know.
Oh, I know that's right, Bridget.
Oh,
Good job. Would you like a bracelet or a necklace?
I'll take a necklace.
No problem, Bridget. Thanks so much. And
Thank
wow,
Good job, Bridget.
I'm
That was a
impressed
tough
by you
one.
all today. You all got it so fast.
The Chinese government wanted all of its people on using the same time, even though it's, geographically it covers a very wide area. All right, so here's your bonus question. You ready? Here we go. What is the absolute favorite sports team in China?
Ping pong. Ping pong.
No, what team? What team?
Oh, team.
Oh, I don't know.
Kind of basketball.
I'll give you a hint. I could be wrong on this one. I could be wrong. That's your hint.
could be wrong.
Basketball.
I could be wrong. Here we go. You ready?
I knew it was a joke question. I knew it was a joke question, Lou.
Have a talk to you with you.
Oh my goodness.
I could be wrong. I couldn't be wrong.
We're gonna have
Oh
to
wow.
darling.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for such a wonderful session on
Thanks a lot,
finance today.
guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good
you so
week.
much.
Talk to you next
Thank
week.
you for what's next week?
Yeah,
All
we'll
right,
check out
what
the
country
daily
is it?
email. Check out your email next week and you'll see where we'll be traveling to. But we'll be in Asia for the month of February as well.
Oh, okay.
All right. See you all. Have a good week.
Bye.
Have a great week, too. Thank you.
Bye.
Congratulations to
Bye-bye.
Miss Lucas, Anne, and Bridget. Thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you.
congratulations. Make sure we come on for a 1:30 p.m. session on email. And as a reminder, on Thursday of next week is the 1st of the month. And so that's when we'll be doing our movie at 6 p.m. So again, make sure you check out our daily email. And let's just keep our TVs and cell phones in mind when we on our Zoom sessions, okay? But I'll see you all in about less than half an hour, all right?
Okie dokie.
Have a great rest of your day, everyone. See you all soon.
Okay.
Bye.